Wordensbang so that Snotlap can realise that the slave mark was not always the slave mark, and how quick good things can be lost, and how a boy can change from being Speedfast to being Grimbed the Ghastly, and also the other way around. Silence. Silence. Can somebody tell that ancient old dragon to shut up? Said Snotlap rudely. I'm trying to sleep. Slight silence in the cave again. One by one, the exhausted humans and dragons fell asleep, despite the noise from outside, despite their fears for Kamikaze. But Hiccup remained awake, tossing and turning and worrying about Kamikaze. About the rebellion, about whether Snotlap was a traitor or not. These were the last thoughts he had before he drifted off to sleep. Much later, Snotlap awoke. He reached into his ragged breast pocket behind his armour and drew out a black star. Oh, the black star is what he won in How to Be a Pirate. Do you remember years ago? Because he fought very bravely. Because Snotlap, he's a brave person. He had won that star, oh look, for outstanding bravery in the Battle of Lucky 13 in How to Be a Pirate. Look, I remembered when Snotlap and Hiccup first met Alvin the Treacherous. Gobber the Belch, his old teacher, had told Snotlap it was one of the proudest days of his life to see a pupil of his win such an honour. Snotlap's face was expressionless as he looked at the star. The deadly shadow, who happened to be awake at that hour, let out a small warning growl, just to let Snotlap know that she was being watched. Snotlap put the black star back in his pocket and turned over so that the dragon could not see his face. Snotlap was crying. Chapter 7 is called Toothless's Dream. Much later that night, Toothless had a terrifying dream. There's Toothless in the underground hideout. Oh, look, with the forest on fire above. I like that illustration. Terrifying because it felt so real. He dreamed he woke up, and in front of him was the underground tea house where they were sleeping, but at the same time it was not quite the tree house. That's the way of dreams. It merged into somewhere else in that way of dreams, and that somewhere was very cold. The Wordensbang was awake too, and staring straight in front of him. His eyes had turned a very strange sort of purple colour. The scar on his chest almost seemed to be glowing. Toothless had a scar too, in almost exactly the same place, and it suddenly itched and burned as if he had received it yesterday. There in the treehouse, very loud, was the sound of a voice that Toothless recognised. It was the voice of the Dragon Furious. Toothless, Dragon Furious. Toothless lay still, trembling. Toothless could hear the roaring of the Dragon Rebellion outside, screaming and raging at full catastrophic force. But to Toothless's absolute terror, it sounded as if the voice of the Dragon Furious was coming from inside the treehouse. But how was that possible? The Dragon Furious wasn't there, and he was too big to fit inside. Maybe he had lifted up the mountaintop and was looking down at them above. Raged with anxiety, Toothless slowly tipped his head upwards. But no, the ceiling was still there. Phew! So where on earth was the voice coming from? It was a mystery. Traitor! Roared the Dragon Furious. Traitor! For one heart-stopping moment, Toothless feared that Dragon Furious was calling to him, and he gave an unhappy whine and hid his head in his paws. But no, the Dragon Furious was talking to the Wordensbang. Why are you letting my thoughts in now, Wordensbang? Screamed the Dragon Furious in his apocalyptic rage. Have you changed your mind about your treacherous behaviour? Are you ashamed of betraying your dragonhood for the second time? The voice of the Wordensbang replied. Both Wordensbang and the Dragon Furious were speaking in Norse, not Dragonese. But the Wordensbang, though awake, did not move his lips. How is that possible? Now, Furious, replied the Wordensbang, calm down. This anger is exhausting you, and do not be so quick to think I am betraying you. The Dragon Furious quietened his rage for a moment, but his tone was still bitterly resentful. You are a sea dragon, a Gigantus Maximus, Wordensbang, and a very old one, so you can see into the future even better than I can. You know that the boy will be the end of us all if we let him live. Wordensbang sighed. He did not contradict the Dragon Furious. But I will not let that happen, roared the Dragon Furious. I pledge that Hiccup the Third shall not reach tomorrow, and he is near. I sense it. I smell you both in my heart. Although you are protecting him, I will not give up. I will stay here until I hunt you out, however long that takes. The dragon paused in his rage for a moment and tried to reason with the Wordensbang. There is no time anymore for the foolish hopes of a silly old dragon. Do you think you are the only one who has ever loved a human? I love one myself. Once myself, his name was Hiccup the Second, but in the end, these Hiccup boys, wonderful as they are, will not be able to defeat the strength of the evil that runs through humanity. Look how the kingdom of Hiccup the First fell into the hands of the boy who was once Speedfast and ended up as Grimbid the Ghastly, and see how this boy, Hiccup the Third, finds the lost things, and they fall again and again to the hook of the evil one, Alvin the Treacherous. The Woden's sighed. That has been worrying me, I confess. Fate is trying to tell you something, Woden's. We have to learn from the past as well as the future. The Woden's sat still, looking into the future. You are mistaken if you think that this has not occurred to me, said the Woden's, almost as if he was talking to himself. In part I am doing this because I want to believe in the impossible, and young humans are so touching in their belief in the impossible. When we are old, we must be wise and give up what is unrealistic, said the Dragon Furious. You had the chance to kill the boy in the fire cavern. You could not do it, so bring the boy to someone who can do it. I will kill him for the sake of all of us. I am the king of the dragons, and a king has to act for the greater good. That sounds very familiar. And that is the way the witch talks, said the Woden's softly. You may love humans, but you are in the end of a dragon. You have to put your dragonhood first, said the Dragon Furious. Bring the boy to me, as you know you must. Furthermore, you know you well. The Woden's sat silent for a very long time. Toothless had the impression that he was playing some game of chess with the possibilities in his mind. Eventually he said, all right, Furious, I will betray whoever is made king. Toothless stiffened in horror. But not yet, said the Woden's. I want this story to play out to the very final moment. I want the boy to have the chance to be the biggest hero he can before the story ends where it must. All right, Furious, I will betray the king. Ah, he is so close now to being a hero. I do not want to bring him down before he makes it there. Once I helped a boy become a king. Let me do this one more time before I die for this one human, even if it ends in the destruction of a species. I will make you a bargain. Stop talking us. Call off your hunt. Take your dragon rebellion north to prepare for the war on tomorrow. Why would I do that? Scorned Furious. I'm close to you now. I feel it. But you're wasting your strength in these angry attacks, the Woden's pointed out. You need to save yourself. It's for the final battle. You are frightened of tomorrow. You fear it, Furious, do you not? So go back north and prepare. The 12th day of Doomsday is only 3 days away, and you need to be at full strength. This way you get a little breathing space, and I get some last precious hours with the boy, wheezed the Woden's with a deep and longing melancholy. The Dragon Furious considered this. If I were to give you this time, growled the Dragon Furious, if I were to halt my rebellion, only to strike with greater strength on the day of Doomsday of Yule itself, what would you offer me in return? I would swear to you by the word of a sea dragon, said the Woden's, that if a king is crowned on the Doomsday of Yule, on that very same day, I'll bring the king to meet you in single combat. Dragon Furious grunted. That is no use to me if the king is carrying the jewel. But before the king rides out to meet you, said the Woden's, I should take the dragon jewel from them and bring it to you. Dragon Furious growled in satisfaction. So this puny human king will be forced to meet me, the Dragon Furious, in single combat with no jewel to protect them? That is correct, said the Woden's. I take your bargain, cried the Dragon Furious, and Toothless jumped. To hear the thunderclap of his jubilation. Swear you will bring the jewel to me, and then the king, said the Dragon Furious sternly. I swear on the word of a sea dragon that I will bring them both to you, said the Woden's, sighing miserably. But it is a bitter bargain. No, shrieked Toothless in his thoughts. The word of a sea dragon cannot be broken. No, no, no. And I will swear that I will call off the hunt in return, said the Dragon Furious. You are right. I confess that this anger is exhausting. It will be good to rest for the final conflict. Dragons of the rebellion, called the mighty East. To halt the red rage. Toothless could hear the sound of the dragon rebellion outside quietening down. Then the Woden's smiled. Now at least you can stop tracking us, Furious, through the thoughts of the gummy one, and I can stop blocking you, which will be more relaxing for both of us. The Dragon Furious laughed. Such thoughts as they are. I can't believe he's the Dragonus he's the Dragonus Giganticus Maximus, the little stammering, toothless one. He's so stupid, and he seems to think of nothing but food. He's just young, scolded the Woden's. He doesn't yet know what he is. Ah, so Toothless is a sea dragon. Here, I say, protested Toothless, and he was so distressed he spoke aloud. You're not talking about Toothless, are you? How could Toothless be a sea dragon? That seems sillier than Woden's being one. Toothless doesn't want dragons listening into his thoughts, and Toothless does know what he is. He's a common or garden. No, he's a toothless daydream. Well, whatever he is, Toothless not a sea dragon. He's far too small. This is a very bad dream. The Woden's turned his head towards Toothless. That's right, it is a very bad dream, Toothless, said the voice of the Woden's still without opening his mouth, but looking straight at Toothless with his hypnotic eyes. But you can go back to sleep now. When you wake up, you will have forgotten all about it. Very bad dream, said the fading voice of the Dragon Furious. Toothless yawned. Slowly he closed his eyes and went back to sleep. When he woke up in the morning, he shivered. The sound of the Dragon Rebellion outside had gone. That was a very bad dream he'd had last night. But what was it about? He couldn't remember for the life of him. Oh, so Toothless is a sea dragon and the Woden's Fang. And the next page says, meanwhile, somewhere in the darkness, Kamikaze was crying, even though bog burglars do not cry. Oof.